Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is going to be the first installment of my 2024 prep video log series. So today's episode, today is January 22nd. It is Monday, so I'm officially 19 weeks and 5 days out, I think. Yeah, that looks right. So we'll call this the 20-week out update. I will have some videos to show, and that will be, those were largely at 20 weeks out. So let's talk a little bit about why I'm doing this. I asked my Instagram followers if there'd be some interest in this, and it was overwhelming yes. So how much interest? We shall see. Probably depends on how much I suck at this and if I learn what I'm doing along the way. Funny thing is, I have not watched a lot of prep vlogs, so I don't really know typically what's in them, so I know the kind of stuff that's important to me, what I want to talk about, so I'm open to feedback if there are certain things that you want to see. There are certain things that I want to do that will not be present in this one just because it's the first one. Like one thing that I want to show, just, so you're not looking at this the whole time, is to overlay some training footage from the week on top of this, but I didn't shoot any this week because I didn't know I was going to be doing this, and I was lazy in the gym as far as recording stuff goes, so I will get some of that on here in the future. That's one thing I know I want to do. If there's any other ideas for what you want to see, let me know. So the show in question is the Battle at the River, which is June 8th in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'd settled on this show with my former coach before she passed away in December. And so she had some plans. We talked a little bit about what prep would kind of be like. So for a while, I wasn't sure if I still wanted to do this, but now I've kind of committed to it mentally, and so we're gonna go on and do it, and I'm gonna coach myself, so we will see how it goes. I am a coach for a living. It is what I do. It is my full-time job. You would think that I should be well equipped to do this, and I am, but it's very different when you're trying to prep yourself, because it's hard to be objective when you're looking at your own photos. Some people do that really well. I'm not one of those people, or at least historically I have not been. I'm going to give myself a chance to try and prove differently this time around. So we'll see how it goes. So the structure of how I want to do this thing is, basically we'll talk about, big changes for the week. I want to go over some quantitative data for the week, some numbers, etc. Some qualitative data, more like how am I feeling, that kind of stuff. And then steps for the week ahead, things that I'm going to be looking at changing. So we'll just jump into it here. Big changes or news? Well, I'm in prep. So we're 20 weeks out right now. Prep started for me at 22 weeks out. The plan was always to start right now at about 20 weeks out, right around mid-January. I got an early jump on it just because I wasn't totally sure where I wanted to start. So for me, at 22 weeks out, what I started doing was taking my current macros and just actually hitting those targets precisely instead of being kind of off-season sloppy with them. I was largely hitting them. I was still doing all the meal prep. I was having all that, but it's like, a little bit here and there, a little bit here and there, extra, untracked, whatever. Those are the weeks that with my clients, I call that off-season appropriate. It's like, you're not really getting a whole lot fatter. It's not that much, whatever. Like, save the psychotic adherence to your plan for when it really matters. That wasn't where I was up until 22 weeks out. So at 22 weeks out, I flipped the switch and okay, enough of that. Let's just get on and hit it 100% every day and just start collecting some data for a couple weeks and see what we have. So also, most recently this week is Knoxville got hit with Snowmageddon, which we dumped 9 inches of snow on us here, which a lot of you are like, whatever, that's a Tuesday. Well, keep in mind, we are in Knoxville, Tennessee. We are not built for this. So the entire city has been shut down for a week. Last week, it really came down all in one day on Monday. Tuesday was a shit show. Wednesday was a worse of a shit show. Thursday, I said, screw it. I know people are getting out. Let me try and get to the gym and see what I can do. And I made it, and it was largely okay. It's like getting out of the neighborhood is the hard part. Once you're out of the neighborhood, it's fine. And it's been getting a little better each day since then. So possible that schools will be back in tomorrow. We'll see. So that's the big change for the week. Other than that, I've just been hitting the same numbers, which I don't remember what they are. I'll put them on screen here. Macro targets are officially 275, 460, 90 for all days, protein, carbs, and fats. So Jumping into the quantitative stuff, the nuts and bolts are, I've been hitting that precisely. I'm going to throw up on screen also, this is my daily tracker. So this is what I have my clients fill out. I fill one out for myself. So you can see there's the date, and then the column immediately to the right of that is where we are at in relation to the show, how many weeks out. Then we have the daily weight, a weekly average, which I take on Sunday, how much cardio I'm doing in a first session. This is always on my bike at home. If there is a second session of cardio, how much is it? I just did one cardio session for 15 minutes on the treadmill, and then I shoveled snow for 2.5 hours like last Monday or Tuesday. How many steps I'm getting in for the day, and then workouts, and then I do give a workout quality off to the side there as well. So I rate my workout for the day on a scale of 1 to 10, just so that I can identify some patterns. Like if those numbers start getting consistently lower over time, it's a sign to me that I'm probably under recovered. I need some extra rest days. Also, there could be like a very specific reason why a particular day was bad. Like, oh, my shoulder was bothering me, or man, I was in a shit mood, or I was really distracted going in, or something like that. So it's not always a the sky is falling situation, but it is kind of a marker for me, just because one thing that I have struggled with historically over the past 10 or 15 years is maintaining a high intensity level of training consistently over a longer period of time, like long enough for an entire prep. My prep in 2021, the protocol I was following back then with the coach I had, the training volume was just too high. I was just burnt out. I didn't have a good workout for like the last 8 weeks of prep. So my goal now for this prep, big picture, is to keep the workout quality as high as possible, but keep the volume very moderate. I did a shoulder workout the other day that was like 40 minutes long. Great. I hit like 15 working sets. That's fine. That's enough. Get the fuck out of the gym at that point. You've done your job. Get out. Other big picture changes is I did actually hire a trainer at the gym, God forbid. So I've never actually had a trainer in person. So this will be an interesting experience. Basically just someone to kind of like help me push for those extra few reps on leg days specifically, because that's when I want to leave reps on the table. Just historically, I know what my weaknesses are, so that's what I'm trying to fix now. So far, so good. I've had 2 sessions. It's been tricky with like snow cancellations and stuff. So the quantitative stuff, the nuts and bolts for the week, you can see here, again, I'll throw the tracker on screen so that you can see it here. Weight is very steady. Like the week ending 22 weeks out, 246.2 on average. The following week, 246.2 on average. This week, down almost a pound, 0.8. Cardio has been, this morning cardio on the bike, this like thing that's ranging from 20 minutes, 30 on the weekends, it's very, very easy. That is not hard cardio by any stretch of the imagination. It's largely just warming up the legs, getting the body temperature up a little bit, not really breaking a big sweat or anything like that. It's not like, what's my heart rate? That's just not how I do it. So I'm trying to stick with lower intensity cardio, probably just a little bit more of it. It's still very early, so this is every bit as much, if not more, cardio than I need to be doing right now. The shoveling was just a bonus. You can see legs with Sam, shoulders, back, arms, etc. Step count pretty high on average. Workouts have been great, so no complaints there. Pretty happy with this. How I'm feeling. So, qualitative, on the qualitative side of things, how I'm feeling, how I'm looking. Well, I'll put this posing video on screen. This is from Sunday. This is from yesterday. How am I looking? Well, fat. I'm still fat. So at 246-ish, the other thing that I did recently is I actually went out into the garage and measured myself so that I know how tall I am, so I know what my weight cap is. So my weight cap at 5'10 3/4", which, don't get me started on how devastating it was to get that number. I swear I'm shrinking. Like my whole adult life, I've told people I'm 6 foot, and now I find out I've been a fucking liar for who knows how long. Last show I did in 2021 at weigh-ins, I was super distracted. I was talking to my wife. They measured me. They're like, you're 5'10 and a half. I'm like, whatever. Like I just assumed I was slouching or whatever, so I didn't even pay any mind. I was still under the weight cap, so whatever. Whole another story there. So now I'm like, stand up straight. I had my wife measure me using a level and everything, mark it on the wall behind me, measure it 5'10 3/4. I'm like, fuck me. I've never really thought that like being sensitive about your height was really a thing until now. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. I totally get it. I completely and totally get it. So I'm a little pissed about that. Anyway, 209 is my weight cap, which realistically from 246, I need to get down at least there just to be, even close to appropriately lean. So you do the math, you can see like how many pounds per week that is. So right now I'm cool. Like, if I can drop another pound this week, hey, great. I'm totally cool with that. 1 pound a week for like 16 to 20 weeks out. I'm fine with that. It'll have to accelerate from there. So, and also like my carbs are still high. I haven't started carb cycling or anything like that yet. So, not too worried about that. So how I'm looking, still fat. I hate even throwing this video up on screen just because it's like, dude, do something about this. How I'm feeling though, I feel great. Like training's been really good. Sleep, generally, I consider myself a professional sleeper. It's always rock solid. Lately, it's been a little interrupted. Like, you know how you have that anxiety dream where you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm late for my test. And you realize that you're like 40 years old and you haven't had a test in 22 years. It's that kind of thing. So I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of the house? What path am I going to take that's the least icy on the roads? And I'm like, dude, just chill out. For some reason, that's caused some sleep dysfunction these past couple of nights here. Typically, it's fine. My appetite is still largely non-existent. I will get a little hungry here and there. Training has been great. Fatigue has not been a problem at all, just because, cardio is still low, food is still high. Training intensity has been very high, but also training volume has been very moderate. Very moderate, taking some longer breaks. So usually it's about an hour. Today it was about an hour and 25 minutes, but there were some much longer breaks at the start, and I did some accessory work towards the end as well. So how I'm feeling, very good. In the off season, my carbs got up to around 600 per day, and I was really struggling putting that down. Appetite was just completely in the tank. It hasn't come roaring back, but I can get down this food that I have now without really struggling at all. I'm definitely ready to eat. I'm just not really hungry in particular. But also, like, with that much food, my stomach was just super distended to the point where it was like getting difficult to breathe at sometimes. It's just like so much food. And then I had some refeed days where I was plugging in at like 800 or 900 grams of carbs. And I was like, oh my God, like I was doing it, but it was not fun. Means to an end though. So now all that's gone, like everything feels much more normal. It's like, oh, all right, cool. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of visible change yet, but it'll come. I'm not too worried about that. Next steps. Sorry, I'm looking over here at my notes on the screen. My priorities for this week, I've been training some extra days here to make up for days that I missed last week. So I'm just going to be very careful about managing fatigue. Take a rest day here coming up, maybe take another one shortly after that as well. I try to stick largely to a 3-on, 1-off schedule. Now with a trainer, I'm kind of, invested in their schedule as well. So it's a little bit more complicated, but there's some flexibility there too. What am I watching for? This week it's about weight trends, understanding that when you look at a single number on the scale, that doesn't really tell you anything other than largely like, if it's significantly higher or lower, how much water you are retaining or not on a given day. So there's not a whole lot of value in that. But watching the trends for the week, seeing an average, like I would love to see another pound drop down. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. And then possible issues ahead, I see nothing for this week. This week looks like clear sailing. The weather is cleaned up a little bit. The road should be fine. No issues getting to the gym. There aren't any issues with supplies and grocery stores or anything like that, thank God, at least not yet. So I think we'll be pretty good. I will probably continue with cardio the way it is. Depending on how my next rest day goes, I may implement a carb cycle after that where I pull down carbs on non-training days just a little bit. But that's really about all I'm evaluating for right now. This is going to be kind of a wait and see week. If I come in and I'm largely at the same weight this coming Sunday when I take my average as I have been for this last week here, probably make a little bit of a macro cut, but not much of one. So the other thing that I have not started yet, so my step count is largely just like what I'm doing on a given day, plus I do get a 30-minute walk-in with my dog every day. And one thing that I know I will implement before too long, hopefully I can put this off until the weather warms up a little bit, is walking him first thing in the morning, and then walking him in the afternoon is a second one. Usually the afternoon is when I take him. So I might get in a bonus walk with him around the neighborhood for an extra 3,500 steps or so, hoping that I can make that kind of account for most of the cardio that I need to do. So that's pretty much where I'm at here at 20 weeks out. There was a question from Jade. So I did put out on Instagram, hey, what am I forgetting? What do you want to hear? And she said specifically, when do I have my meals during the day and what type of foods do I stick to? So this is something that will have to change also, because right now I'm still in kind of like my off-season food selection, which is whatever it takes to make it easier to hit the numbers. So it's not particularly clean, which I don't feel bad about that at all. But I wake up at 4:30. My first meal's at 7. So I do my fasted cardio. I do some work for a bit, eat after I've been up for about 2.5 hours. And then if I go and train early in the morning, I'll have post-workout after that, which is around 10:30 or so. Then again, around 12:31, 4 o'clock, and then dinner's usually around 8. And then in bed by like 9:30. Typically. Meal 1 is Greek yogurt with collagen powder, cream of rice with wild blueberries. Meal 2, which is my post-workout, is a 42-gram Fairlife protein shake and 12 chocolate cream Oreos, because I'm a 6-year-old at heart, and they fit my macros, so who cares? And cravings during prep are always what get me. Right now, if those have to go away, I'm like, fine, take them, and I don't think I'll miss those for the rest of prep. So it's kind of a strategy to kind of help, get rid of some cravings before they come about. And plus, I just love junk food also. Meal 3 is a deli turkey sandwich with dill pickle slices and romaine lettuce and mustard, and a serving of some pita crackers with that. Meal 4 is an Animal Way protein shake with a Dave's Killer Bagel and some raspberry preserves. And then my final meal of the day is a heaping bowl of ground turkey, spinach, black beans, rice, and avocado. Good stuff. So mostly clean, not entirely. Some of that can certainly be cleaned up. Like the post-workout meal with the Oreos, there's probably about 30 grams of fat in there. So when it comes time to clean that up, that'll be a significant reduction in dietary fats, which will be some easy calories to drop. So that's pretty much where I'm at. So certainly, if you want to see more of this, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Like the video, leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see more of in this, what you want to see less of. This face probably. I will be bringing in some training video next week, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, as always, and we'll see you back here at 19 weeks out.